Rams fans, welcome in on this edition of Rams Showcase. The Rams are gearing up for some roster shifts, plus how many superstars could be on the move. And later, you pick the topic, fan quesos. Let's rock.
This is Rams Showcase with your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes, welcome into it, Rams Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Bags, at Sheriff Joe Bags, at Rams Showcase. That's where you follow along on socials. RamsShowcase.com. Got some interesting stuff headed your way there. I'll let you know, I will have some stuff for sale here soon. I've noticed that I'm becoming frustrated with things like sitting in my closet or, things that I don't feel like I'm getting a lot of or enough use out of some of my Ram stuff. So I know that I get asked about stuff all the time, so I am going to put up a few items. Nothing too crazy, and I think I will be a little bit particular about it in terms of what is going to go up. First of all, no gifts, so only things that I've bought myself, so that does limit it a fair amount, realistically. But also, just, something that maybe doesn't have, like, any duplicates. I've got a lot of duplicates of stuff, hats and stuff like that I'm willing to part with. But, yeah, just really anything that's not, like, super sentimental to me, which obviously I wouldn't get rid of, but also no gifts, like I said. So only things that I've bought myself. So I'll post on the socials once anything's popped up there. So keep your eyes on Ram Showcase, at Ram Showcase, just about everywhere. RamShowcase.com as well, trying to get some more articles up on that world. Ram Showcase is going through a bit of a shift. I'm not ready to announce anything yet, but I'm excited about it. I'll tell you that much, and I think you should be as well. So I don't know exactly when things will be announced or when things will be implemented, but I've got an idea of where I want this to go, and I'm very excited about it. So that should be some fun stuff. It is Super Bowl week, by the way, a week that we feel like we should probably be playing in, if I'm not, pulling any punches here, man, because it does feel like the Rams are like 15 yards away, one play, essentially, away from going to the NFC Championship game. And then once you're there, man, all bets are off, obviously. We know what Washington looked like in that game, so I do feel pretty good that the Rams could be playing this weekend. If they could have just gotten that little bit more, man. If Bo Limmer looks to the right instead of the left, we're probably playing this weekend. And that's wild to think about, man. So super unfortunate. But obviously, as well, going into this time, we're going to hit a lot of topics in terms of, things that maybe we don't love to talk about, but it's off-season time and we're getting into it. I feel like if you've been keeping up on the YouTube world of YouTubers and Rams people and stuff like that, I'm like the last to talk about wide receiver Cooper Kupp. All right, everybody's got their opinions, everybody's got their thoughts, and now I will share mine as well to add into that to that stock. All right, so Cooper Kupp did announce recently that the Rams will be seeking an immediate trade that will be involving him. We did get this news via just a social media post, which is, just the way the world is now. It's unfortunate that's how we learn things. I think that there's less anticlimactic ways to learn things than just like getting a notification like, oh, Cooper Kupp posted on Instagram. Oh, no. It's just you're sitting there. I don't know. But either way, the post, it was kind of long and heartfelt, and Cooper Kupp just kind of let it be known that he disagrees with the decision. Doesn't sound like he wants to leave the Rams, but sounds like the Rams want him to go. So ultimately, the reports of midseason possible move were real. We do know that now. It's just enough reports have come out of reporters and trusted people saying like, yeah, they're making phone calls. Like that's. It wasn't not real. I think that there was a point in there where they decided, let's not make this move now. Fine, let's make it through the season, and then we'll make the move. And it feels like the Rams were locked in on doing that, no matter how the season ended. It's kind of what it feels like, considering how fast they were moving on this situation. But no reason to believe Kupp when he says that he disagrees, because there's no way to know what happened for sure. But what I'm guessing is the Rams asked him to take a pay cut. I don't know that. Again, we have no idea what actually happened in there. Just like the Ernest Jones situation, we have no clue what actually happened. We just kind of have to assume, or we have to assume. And that's really unfortunate that we don't get to learn these things, because eventually we just have to pick a side as fans. We have to be like, all right, are we mean and jerks because of, are we just like blowing people off and Todd Gurley and all these guys, like we screw these guys over? Or do we have to assume that the players are burning us and they're doing something in there, and then these guys that we were rooting for, they're being jerks? So I don't know. We have to assume because we don't know the real story, which is unfortunate. But I do think it's possible the Rams asked Cooper Kupp to take a pay cut, and he was like, no, like, not my problem. You guys offered me that contract. I signed it. What? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, which is, absolutely a way to handle that situation. There are a lot of possibilities here. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what happened or what led to this. Cooper Kupp's time as a Ram is it's about over, or it feels like it's about over. It was a solid career in horns for sure. Absolutely unbelievable time as a Rams wide receiver. Kupp showed up to the Rams 2017 via the 69th overall draft pick. He does end his Rams career with 634 receptions, 7,776 receiving yards, 57 receiving touchdowns, solidifying himself as a top 5, if not a top 3 wide receiver in Rams history. Kupp all-time 17th in games played for Rams all-time, and that is just 6th for wide receivers. Kupp played in 104 games. Torrey Holt, 158. Isaac Bruce, 197. Henry Ellard, 158. So the same as Torrey Holt there. Jack Snow with 150. Kupp, 104, way behind all those guys. Third in receptions in Rams history, only behind Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. Ninth in catch percentage all time with a minimum 100 targets, and that is first for a wide receiver. Best catch percentage for a wide receiver in Rams history, minimum 100 targets. Puka Nacua, second on that list, minimum 100 targets. So that's pretty exciting stuff there. Fourth all-time in receiving yards in Rams history, only behind Henry Ellard, Torrey Holt, and Isaac Bruce. He is third all-time in Rams history in touchdown receptions, only behind Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. Not arguably one of the best Rams wide receivers of all time. May or may not still have some really good football left in him. That is definitely up for debate, I guess, depending on who you talk to. Some people say he's done. Some people say he's got plenty left in him. Doesn't really matter whatever side you're on. He either does or he doesn't. We will find out when he touches a football field. I think he still has good enough football in him to stick around on the Rams roster and not have a problem with it and still be able to contribute to this team. But I do think he's lost a little bit of a step. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's a little bit of that. Does his cap number match his production this last year? No, maybe it doesn't. But also, I don't think it did in 2021. I think he outperformed it. So I think it's a bit of a give and take there. And I think that it's kind of depends on which way you look at it. But he may or may not still have good football left in him. It's not going to be with us anyway, so it doesn't really matter. That's kind of my point on that. The very minimum, he is a great leader, great example, hard worker, great brain to have in your locker room and your huddle for sure. Rams probably won't get much for Kupp, but I feel like the bulk of us will be rooting for Cooper Kupp from afar, no matter where he ends up playing football. And, I mean, we can hear the rumors of San Francisco and all that stuff all we want. I don't believe that. I don't think the Rams would ever do that. When Isaac Bruce went to the 49ers, it was a free agency situation, and he was upset with us. So a little bit different there. He was part of Sean McVay's first draft class, one of the first picks that Sean McVay got to make as the Rams head coach. So we've kind of seen him come full circle in that regard. Certainly a bummer to see one of the greats walk, but doesn't take away the 2021 Triple Crown season. Absolutely incredible there. He doesn't take with him the game-winning Super Bowl touchdown. That stays in L.A. That is a Rams touchdown. It doesn't, Super Bowl ring doesn't follow him to another team or anything like that, so that still stays forever. What Kupp did will live on forever. He's locked himself in, being such an important piece of the Rams rebuild. We were 4-12 the season before Cooper Kupp showed up, and Sean McVay, in fairness, but that turnaround was certainly a big part of Cooper Kupp. I mean, great player. I mean, you can talk injuries, you can talk whatever, but the person that Cooper Kupp has been for the Rams, for the fans, for teammates, everybody. I mean, everybody in the building and all the fans watching all around the world. I mean, not a lot of bad things to say about Cooper Kupp. Sure, he missed some games. Whatever. Dude's a hard worker and a great human being. So, great football player, great person. I don't know. Best of luck, Coop. Wherever you end up, you'll still got a fan over here in Sheriff Joe Bags rooting for Cooper Kupp. So hopefully he doesn't burn us too bad when we get to play him here in the next few years, I'm sure. But as we begin we begin to turn our attention to the 2025 season and the 2025 Rams. It's a Puka seat at the Breakfast Club now, so unfortunately that seat did get opened up, but what can you do about it, man? In the most unfortunate sense, players come and go. The Rams are forever. I say that all the time. Players come and go. The Rams are forever. And sometimes that sucks when it's the player that you're talking about happens to be one of the fan favorites and a guy who has done some very incredible things for your franchise over the years. But it's true. Players come and go. The Rams are forever. My Rams fandom was never tied to Cooper Kupp. My Rams fandom was around long before Cooper Kupp and will survive long after Cooper Kupp. Obviously, we hate to see our favorites go, but, I will always appreciate Coop for what he did for this team. But if he's going, he is going. I'm still a Rams fan and looking forward to a very fun 2025 season. This team has such a strong amount of promise going into the future with or without Cooper Kupp. So, my ultimate guess, because nothing is official yet, is that Cooper Kupp is going, but I wouldn't say that it's impossible that the two sides do come to an agreement and see him stick around for a lower dollar amount. I don't think it's impossible. However, I do think it's unlikely. Let's turn our attention to Matthew Stafford, quarterback for the LA Rams, who is now the subject of other rumors. That we are now hearing that maybe Matthew Stafford could be on the move via trade from the Los Angeles Rams. Largely, these rumors have popped up due to Kelly Stafford and her podcast. I was going to pull up the comments. They are out there. I'm sure most Rams fans, and if you're watching Rams Showcase in February before a Super Bowl we're not playing in, then I'm guessing those comments, so we're not going to dive into them fully. But you know what? What I'll say is Kelly has been known to talk out of frustration before, and I would guess that right now she's just a little bit frustrated. She's just a little bit upset, and can you blame her? I mean, what she said, I don't disagree with, that the Rams were probably a play away from going to the Super Bowl, and I think we have a shot against the Chiefs. Absolutely. I 1,000% agree with what Kelly Stafford said there. It feels like we're a play away there. We probably can beat Washington. We can come back to L.A. and win that. Do the whole, LAFD thing there, and that's like that energy, and that's SoFi Stadium for that game would have been off the charts for sure. Probably would have been playing this weekend. So be it, we're not, but, it does feel like we were that close. And then, so you get that heartbreak of, let's be real here. In that situation, that last drive, you get 2 30-yard plays, it just, as Rams fans, maybe I'm talking out of turn here, but as Rams fans, it felt like in that situation, we've seen this story before, Rams go down and score and win that game by 1 point. That's what it felt like. I was so confident in that. Didn't happen. But you get that heartbreak, and then immediately after, you get told that your best friend's probably leaving. From the second that Matthew and Kelly showed up, Cooper and Anna have been like their best friends. On the field for Matthew and Cooper, absolutely killing it out there. They hang out all the time. They are friends. So, yeah, I'm sure she's just a little bit upset that it's like, I've been there, dude. Being in like elementary school, one of your best friends is like, hey, we're moving to Arkansas. And you're like, no. What? No, what the heck, man? And then you're like, I'm going to leave this school too, man. What the? Like, I don't want to be here either. Then if everybody's just going to leave, it's not going to be the same anymore now that, Clint's gone. So I don't know, man. I guess I kind of get it in that sense. And I do think that that's kind of what it is. I think that she's just like, maybe we'll go then too. We don't need this. So I think that that's kind of what it is. Rams have a really cheap defense for a few more years. And in that sense, if the Rams were going to try to go ahead and try to get younger on offense, because our defense is good. Defense is okay right now. We can re-sign and just carry on with the same exact defense we had if we want to. And we only lost one defensive coach, assistant defensive line coach. Crazy. We're fine. You know what I mean? So if the Rams wanted to make some moves on offense and move Stafford, move Kupp, get a little younger there, set ourselves up for the next 10 years at the quarterback spot or something like that, now kind of is the time to do it. You know what I mean? So do I think that that's going to happen? Not necessarily. I do think that Matthew Stafford sticks around. Our potential out on Matthew Stafford's deal is technically this year, but we still eat so much dead cap and save like a nickel to cut him before June 1. So we'd have to do it post June 1. He's got $4 million roster bonus on the third day of the league year. So that hits middle of next month. We're not going to wait till June 1 to trade him. So I say all that to say this. My ultimate guess is that Stafford stays, but ultimately, I wouldn't say it's technically impossible that he does go. That's what I'll say. Moving on. Rams, it's been announced. Heading to Australia, 2026 NFL action, going to Melbourne, Australia. I don't love this. It's a Rams home game, so I inherently kind of like, we get burned on it. And that's just, you know what? Because being not local to the Rams, it's not like I'm going to every home game or anything like that. It was probably a game I was going to watch on TV anyway. But I'm speaking from a Rams fan perspective, and I want the Rams to do well in any situation possible. And we just lost a home game, so. I'm sure it's really awesome for any Rams fans that are in Australia. And Australia is one of those, like the Rams are tagged as one of the Australia teams. So it totally makes sense that the Rams were chosen for this. I get it. Totally understand it. I'm excited for any Rams fan who gets to be out there for it. But I kind of hate it. That's all. That's all. And I'm not trying to take action on this. I'm not trying to like start a petition like, hey, we got to stop these international games, man. This is bogus. None of that stuff, man. But, it's competitively, I would say that it is unfortunate. You got to send your boys out to a different country for a little while. You're away from your family. You're doing all this extra media stuff that kind of pulls you away from just being able to sit in your own facility and watch game tape and stuff like that. Now you're talking to these fans who have never seen football in person before, and they're like, "What's your favorite food?" And you're like, "Who cares, man? Like, let's just play some football, man." And it'll be like a week 3 game, and it's I don't know. You get it. I don't like it, so whatever. But this game will be played in 2026, so we'll see who the opponent will be. We obviously don't know that yet. This ultimately, we get this announcement, and the story will die off until about next year when the schedule release is approaching. So kind of just put that, lock that away somewhere back in there, and we'll need that next year, all right? But it does sound like they want this game to be week 1, but come on, dude. Come on, you're gonna take a Los Angeles team here. You're gonna stand there owning a fireworks stand and take a Los Angeles team and put them in Australia right at the tail end of winter, dude. How about we don't? How about we don't do that? We could also open your mind up real wide now. We could also not do that. You know what sounds way sick though? December time, dude. It's winter out here. Sure, in LA, winter is laughable for this Colorado kid right here, right? But it still gets chilly out there. We were still bundling up and stuff like that out there, putting on jackets and hoodies, and I was wearing beanies and stuff like that. But that's December, dog. You know how sick it would be to take two American teams in December and take them to Australia in their summertime? Pinnacle, dude. Pinnacle. So I'm hoping for that to happen. Mainly that's for the players too. Competitive advantage on that end. We don't need to send them to Australia at the tail end of winter. I don't know how cold Australia winters get, okay? I didn't look into that, okay? But wintertime, we're LA. I'm against it, man. I don't even know where Melbourne is on the map. I would have to look into that too. But you know what? It sounds like it may be chilly, so I'm not down for it, and I'm a little bit sad about it. So hopefully this game will go later in the season. Not week 1, dude. Not week 1. All right. Moving on. Last topic here. Then we'll get into our fan quesos on the other side. So let's talk wide receivers real quick. as there's rumors rumbling. All right, so I just keep wanting to call them Rammers, dude. Like Ram rumors, they're Rammers. Anyway, Davante Adams has come out that he wants to play on the West Coast, and there's only a few of those teams out there. LA Rams. You do have your Chargers. You also have your Niners. Seahawks, I don't know if they literally are West Coast team, but I don't know if we really, that's, up there is like a different world. That's a different thing. West Coast, I feel like, is like Cali and down. Maybe I'm just a Colorado dude talking, talking mess out of here. But either way, Davante Adams does want to come back to the West Coast, does tie him to the Los Angeles Rams. Not sure this would happen, but if we drop Kupp and add Adams, I would be fine with that. I think that would be a decent little switcheroo in there. Do you take from the Indiana Jones dude, with just Kupp and Adams in there? I would be fine with that. Kupp, by the way, only has 2 seasons of having more than 1,000 receiving yards. Davante Adams has 5. He is also 32 years old, though, so why drop Kupp, a team leader, coach on the fields, for Adams, who may or may not work with you and was probably just going to try to leave next year and be like, actually, I would want to play in Texas or something, you know what I mean? Like, so make up your mind, Davante, all right? But Keenan Allen also said the same thing, so I think that adding a veteran to this team, like moving Kupp, adding a veteran who I think we can probably get for like half the price of a Cooper Kupp, like a Davante Adams, like a Keenan Allen, guys who I think that would give us similar production to what Cooper Kupp did this year. I think I'm fine with that. Get him, like I said, about half price. So I think that's with the names that are popping up as available wide receivers in free agency, and it's hefty. We'll dive into free agency names here in the next few weeks, but that list is hefty. Maybe one of the reasons the Rams don't want to drop. It's $20 million cash the Kupp is due, $29 million on his cap hit, though. So I'm guessing that the Rams are just looking at these dollar amounts being like, dude, we can do this production. I talk about this with Tutu Atwell all the time. Like, his production is replaceable. It's not that I don't like Tutu Atwell. I just think that what he does on the football field, we can draft in the 5th round. And it's possible that the Rams are looking at the free agency class and saying, like, we can get what Cooper Kupp did this year for half the price and sell a bunch more jerseys and do all that stuff. It is the business, all right? So everybody's already got their Cooper Kupp jerseys and stuff like that. But you think you add a Davante Adams and some jerseys aren't going off the shelves and stuff like that? People aren't showing up to go watch Davante or Keenan Allen show back up. Chargers fans now are like, oh, man, he's back in L.A. Let's maybe go watch him. I love this guy. Let's go, stuff like that. It is a business, and those kind of things do factor in whether we like it or not. Davante Adams, Keenan Allen, who knows? We'll see. Cooper Kupp, who knows, man? I'm here for it either way. Though the 2025 Rams is shaping up already to be a really, really, really fun football team to watch. So no matter what happens, man, I'm here for it, and I'm excited about it. Fan Quesos, that's next. Ram Showcase. Welcome back in. This is Rams Showcase. They call me Sheriff Joe Bags. Yeah, I've had that name now for, I think, like 12 years, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. It's been a bit, which is very exciting stuff. Also, we did not talk about 2 important news things that I do want to mention real quick before we get into full-on Fan Quesos, which is obviously massive congrats out to the homie dude, the guy, Jared Verse, Defensive Rookie of the Year, man. We lose Aaron Donald in 1 year, and the very next draft pick we have is the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Man, so sick. And then also, I want to dive into this a little bit more next episode, but my favorite player of all time, the reason I am a Rams fan, this Colorado local boy is fired up. My favorite player of all time, Marshall Faulk, is now the running backs coach at Colorado. That's absolutely awesome, man. I'm fired up for Marshall. I'm fired up for Colorado. I'm fired up for the Buffaloes, man. Fired up for Dion. I'm fired up for that team. I'm fired up for a lot of things right now, man. Marshall, though, is in my home state. And it's so sick, man. A team that I obviously have grown up. Colorado is the football team in Colorado. You know what I mean? It's like Texas in Texas. Like, I'm a Texas A&M fan, and I understand the dynamic. You know what I mean? But like, I'm out in Colorado Springs, so actually, like, it's not far from. It's like a 10-minute drive for me. I can get to the Air Force Falcons stadium, so that is my home team. And more way up north, like Boulder and Fort Collins, where the CSU Rams play and the CU Buffaloes play. Those are not close to me. You know, I've got other teams, like if I go south, CSU Pueblo, where Morgan Fox played, that's about an hour south of me. That's not that far, but that's like a good 2.5 to go that way. But either way, man, Colorado is the team in Colorado. So absolutely love that, man. It's so sick that Marshall Faulk is going to be the running backs coach there. I am so stoked for him, man. That is so cool to see him in the coaching world. And maybe he'll end up being the Rams' next running backs coach, and that would fire me up to the max. So that's awesome stuff. I was trying to kill time while I looked for the Fan Quesos episode, or questions, and we got them. All right. First queso here, coming from the Facebook page and coming from John. Is big game ever going to get in? You know what, man? I'm getting to a weird point with Torrey Holt and the Hall of Fame, because I mean, this is also another thing I wanted to cover. I did a terrible job taking my notes. There was 3 things I missed that I really wanted to talk about. But either way, Torrey Holt not going to the Hall of Fame, I think, is very unfortunate. The video of Shannon telling Sterling he got in had so much potential to be the coolest video of all time, but I still think that even in like nailing it wise, Jared verse talking to Fisk draft stuff, that was better than that. But it was almost there, man. Sterling walking downstairs and Shannon wearing his gold jacket going, "Welcome." That was almost so perfect, but then Sterling's all, to your house? And it was like, my guy, we had it, man. You had the coolest moment, and you had to be an idiot. Whatever. I have nothing bad to say about Sterling. Awesome. Obviously, congrats and all that stuff. But Torrey Holt, man, he's in a tough spot because 4 got in this year. I always felt like there was more. Only 4 being announced surprises me, especially when you have guys like Torrey Holt, Eli Manning. Like, there's names that were like, hey, what about these guys? I thought for a long time, for years, we had a log jam where it was guys who deserve to be in are missing it because there's so many good names every year available. Now we let 4 in. I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. Next year, Larry Fitzgerald is a first ballot chance. It's his first year eligible. If Torrey Holt goes in before Larry Fitzgerald, that would surprise me. That's about where I'm at, man. He is going to get in. Timing wise, I officially have no confidence in when that will happen. Very unfortunately, I think it'll be a few years at this point. But maybe we'll get the coolest thing possible and get Aaron Donald and Torrey Holt in the same class. I think that would be absolute pinnacle, man. That would be top tier. So I would love that. Also, I don't know who's, planning on heading out for that stuff, but we are already in conversations of like, hey, when it's Donald time to get into the Hall of Fame, we're going. Like, that's when you have to. Only played for the Rams, like stuff like, it's like he's one of those ones where it's like, if I don't go to that one, I'm always going to be sad about it. So hey, maybe we can make a big Rams event out of that one and do something really big out there. For that, maybe I'm going to try to work on this. Okay. For Aaron Donald's induction, we're going big. All right. I'll try to host something if I can, or help somebody else host it if I can't, whatever. I just want to do something big for that one. Let's head over to the YouTube channel for our fan quesos. This one here, our next few coming from Edwin. Emphasis on the win. With Kupp likely not to return, who would you like to see the Rams go after in free agency or in the draft? Is there a team you would hate to see Kupp go to? Oh, man. So heavy hitting already, man. So as far as the draft goes, I have no idea. Couldn't name one guy who's in the draft this year. Oof. Yeah, I couldn't name one. Scorton, Nick Scorton, my dude from A&M. I know him. That's literally the only name I know in the draft right now. So haven't dove into that world yet. I don't really heavy. So if draft coverage is something that you're looking for, there's some great creators out there that have your back for sure. I'm more of a not draft guy. I'm more of a game day guy. I feel like I thrive in season, really. I feel the off-season topics are not where I do my damage. So, but as far as that goes, man, I want to see a big name come back in. Whether that happens to be like a Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, I would be absolutely cool with. Devontae Adams, I would be thrilled with it as well. So, yeah, I think that the options are aplenty. Mike Williams, I think, is a realistic one. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Is there a team you would hate to see Kupp go to? Philadelphia. And I think that the reason I would hate to see him go to Philadelphia is because the Eagles, I mean, however you want to feel about the Eagles, not like that's that aside. I feel like this, like somebody made the joke of this is the first time that that everybody in America, like the Eagles have a chance to make everybody in America happy for the first time ever because everybody hates them, and that's really funny to me. But I would say Philadelphia, mainly because though he wouldn't get enough targets there. He would have 457 receiving yards next year and 3 touchdowns, and it'd be a bummer because they just don't do that. But he would also have like 200 something rushing yards or something, and it'd be like, this is the dumbest offense. I would hate to see him go to Philly, and obviously any division opponent. Do you think Myles Garrett would be a good fit with our D-line? I don't think he would be a bad fit for our D-line, but I don't think that we'll go for Myles Garrett. I think it would be sick, and it wouldn't hurt my feelings one bit to get him into a rotation with Verse and Byron Young, man. That would be scary times, man. But I don't think that we go for him. I don't know where he ends up going, but I don't think that the Rams are a team that'll go for a Myles Garrett. I think he'll end up getting burned a little bit. Like, it's like, yeah, you get to leave Cleveland, but you go to a team that's like, it'll be like Jacksonville or something where it's like, okay, well, I guess it worked. Yeah. What is your favorite Cooper Kupp memory on the field? One on the field and one off the field. Okay, I have my off the field one came into my brain immediately. So on the fields, I want to take a minute. Let me just take a second. There's so many plays coming into my head. His touchdown in London against the Bengals, that one's so cool. He had a touchdown against the Chargers. I want to say that was at the Coliseum, but it may have been at Qualcomm. That touchdown was so sick. Obviously, he's got Kupp again. He's got Kupp again. That's one of the single best moments in the and then you go to the Super Bowl, you can pick 2 right there immediately come to my mind. The 4th down jet sweep pickup, and then the touchdown, the game-winning touchdown, obviously. I can't answer that. I don't know how to answer that. There's too many to name for myself, at least. God, and I know I'm forgetting some too. I know that I'm going to think of some later on and be like, ooh, man, that one's such a good one. Or we're like, oh, I would have said that for sure. But I'm lying because if I thought of it now, I would still say, I don't know. My off the field is when the Rams announced their new uniforms and he and Robert Woods were wearing the uniforms doing like day-to-day tasks. And like it's in my brain of like him going into his fridge and he like grabs something and then like spins away. Dude, that is like one of my favorite videos that the Rams have ever put out. It's just him and Robert Woods just doing the dumb, like they're like washing their car in full uniform. He's out there playing basketball and stuff. Like, dude, it's so funny to me. It's so dull and like not that interesting, and it's like peak COVID time and stuff too. So it's like it seems like one of those content things where it's like, okay, well they were just trying to put out anything at this point. But I don't know why, man. Cooper Kupp opening his fridge, grabbing something, and then like spinning away from it. That cracks me up so hard, man. So I'm gonna say that, man. I'm gonna say Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods uniform announcement video, I think is what it kind of is or something. So I'm gonna go with that one, man. That's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Next one here come from GP Shadow. Welcome back in, dude. I love when you pop in on these, man. Be regular, man. All right. Thoughts on Ernest Jones trade now? Well. Great question, actually, man. Because like literally, you can go back and like watch my podcast, like watch me sit here when the Rams made that trade and just be like, I don't know. I guess they have a plan. There's something going on in there, but I don't know. Like, you know, and then just be like, well, what do we do now? Kind of thing. And I mean, how much did we hear about Ernest Jones this year? I don't know. In fairness, when you do something like Rams Showcase during the season, it's hard to pay attention to every team. So in fairness, I don't know everything that goes on in the NFL. I am very locked in on the Rams because I do a Rams show once a week. So, don't hate it. Whatever, man. I mean, I would have liked to have been more comfortable beginning the season with our inside linebackers. I would have liked to have Christian Roseboom, Troy Reeder, and Omar Spates in a better position to take over without an Ernest Jones when that happened. I think our timing was still absolutely god-awful. I would like to avoid that in the future. If we can not trade our captains away right after the preseason and before week 1, that would be real crispy. I would love that. So I still strongly disagree with the timing of the trade, but I also understand there's a lot of aspects of this trade and the situation that we just don't understand. We don't understand what the conversations were happening between Sean and Ernest or other coaches or anything like that. Maybe it was Greg Williams or something like that. And having these conversations, we don't know what those talks were like. Maybe if we knew, we'd be like, yeah, you had to get him out of there at that time, man. Perfect timing, actually. Like, so obviously there's a lot of moving parts to that aspect of it. But thoughts on the Ernest Jones trade now? Don't hate it, man. Don't hate it. Whatever. It's fine. We're fine. He's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Last few here coming from Payo Time. And then we'll wrap it up here. So, Payo Time's first question. The 85 Bears had the record of 72 sacks in a single season. Am I being too biased to think that the Rams next year have the best chance to break that record over any team in the NFL? Let me do some quick math here. Almost definitely started playing. Wow, no way. Huh. Thin Lizzy just dropped a new album. What the heck? Anyway, you guys get to watch me get that news. That's fun for you. Anyway, I'm going to go with my calculator here. So 72. 72, we get a 17-game season. That's 4.23 sacks a game, dude. Yikes! Yeah, certainly possible, but is it gonna happen? Oof, I don't know, man. But yeah, certainly possible, man. I mean, when you look at the fact, just playoff Rams and the sacks that they were getting, it does feel like once the playoffs hit, it really was like, yeah, Braden and Jared aren't rookies anymore, officially. Like, it did feel like that, and it felt like the Rams were doing stuff to get after quarterbacks that is like, oof, like my guy Shula, hell yes, dude. So man, yeah, it's certainly possible if the Rams are able to carry on that energy and just kind of to carry that over. I think that'd be so sick to see him just kind of fire off right away. But we also, I think as Rams fans, I know you definitely know this, Payo, that sacks are one of those stats that come in bunches. So we could have some games, we get 1, 2, stuff like that. That could happen 5, 6 games in a row. But then you could also, with this team specifically, have a situation where you get 7, 8, 9 in 3, 4, 5 games in a row as well. So certainly possible, man. I don't think that you would. I wouldn't say that you're being Rams biased to say that the Rams have the best chance to do this, considering what we've seen this team do and the youth that this team is right now. We have Byron and Kobe going into year 3 and Jared and Braden going into year 2. I mean, we got these guys for a bit. So, no, it's not unrealistic to say that they absolutely can do this. 85 Bears, where Jeff Fisher, backup safety. I just had to throw that in there. I don't know why. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. You're not going to use that information ever. It's never going to, it's going to be one of those dumb things where people say something and you're like, oh, Jeff Fisher played on that team. And people will be like, cool. And then that's it. So don't do it, man. I don't know why I did it to you just now. Anyway, last question here from Payo Time. Sadly, Torrey Holt is still not in the Hall of Fame. Could you just nerd out about how good Holt was to make up for it? It won't make up for it, Payo. It won't do it, man. Torrey Holt was the reason I played wide receiver in high school. I I chose my number 9 because 81 wasn't available, so I added them together. I've got that jersey still here. Not supposed to, but that school doesn't exist anymore. They closed it, so what are they going to do? I still have my high school jersey, but I wore 9 because of 81, and also my other favorite number at the time, 3, was already taken. So number 9 was my number on Holt, man. Seeing some of those plays in the time, what I call the dark era of, Torrey Holt getting that bomb from Mark Bulger at the Edward Jones Dome against the Seattle Seahawks, that catch over Lofa Tatupu, of all people, linebacker covering Torrey Holt deep in the middle. So bad news, Seattle. But that catch where he kind of like bobbles it and he reaches back and pulls it in, man. Just losing my mind as a high schooler for that stuff, man. And that catch he had in the end zone where he's like falling down and he just, like some of the catches he has, man, where you're just like, that's not real, man. Like, and it's just so clean, so consistent, so much of the time, man. And I remember watching stuff from St. Louis where every day he would catch 100 balls, and if he dropped one, he had to buy the guy that was running the jugs machine lunch. And that guy's name was Joe. I remember that. Just that's super easy to remember for me, obviously. But just like seeing that, and I remember one time he got to 98, and one slipped through his hands, and Joe started celebrating and stuff like that, man. But those are like old YouTube videos of the Rams, man, from those days. Watching like that was like the era of watching like Keenan Burton show off his car and like Johnny Hecker show his dog off and stuff like that. That was like that era of Rams YouTube content, which was really fun. But yeah, Torrey Holt, man, he was one of those guys that you knew was just he could break anybody's ankles at any moment. And I know some fans too, like in fairness, like the reason I'm trying to explain this and stuff is because like I know I have fans that watch and listen to me that did not get to watch Torrey Holt play as a Ram. They're just too young. So some of you older guys are like, well, I remember watching Flipper Anderson. You don't know nothing, So, and that's how you talk, and I stand by that. But so like I was trying to explain that like it was one of those things where if the ball was going to Torrey Holt, you felt like it was getting caught. Similar to how if it's 3rd and 2, Cooper Kupp is going to try to break some ankles and catch this ball on the outside, stuff like that. Like you just kind of knew what was happening. And when we had the chance to see Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce play together, it felt unfair. But it seemed like a lot of teams had that at the time. There was a lot of teams in that era of the 2000s that, we had Bruce and Holt, but then there's like Moss and Carter, there's Anquan and Larry in Arizona. Gosh, I'm trying to think of more. I know Dallas had one. Jacksonville had Jimmy Smith and who was that? I'm gonna blank on too many names right now to keep going. But that was our combo, man, and just to see those guys just carve up secondaries and stuff and burn some of the greatest players ever, man. Like seeing, like Antrell Roll, Champ Bailey, is like that, get their ankles broken by an Isaac Bruce or a Torrey Holt, man, was absolutely top tier. So it's so unfortunate, man, that Torrey Holt is still not in. And I do think that based on who is first-year eligibles coming up, I do think it'll be a few more years, which is unfortunate. But maybe we'll get him in the same year as Aaron Donald, and it'll be one of those great Rams classes that we can say the greatest show on turf is finally in, and the greatest defensive player of all time is finally in as well. First ballot year for Aaron Donald. So maybe that's how it goes, man. We'll see how it shakes out, obviously. But Torrey Holt, definitely one of my favorite players to watch. So smooth, got that swag, man. His hands are absolutely chaotic, but that's what happens when you catch some of the sickest footballs ever, man, and you do some of the sickest things on a football field known to man. So, hell yeah, man. Torrey Holt was so sick. Marshall Faulk was my number one favorite player of all time. My number one favorite Ram. I've got my bobblehead here unopened from forever ago. I got my stuff here. Got jersey. I got my Marshall Faulk collection is very, very solid. I've made stuff in the past and all that. But number two was always Torrey Holt. Torrey Holt he caught my attention immediately. I became a Rams fan really with Marshall Faulk. I was just a Marshall Faulk fan. I got his rookie card sitting on there on my wall too. But once I started watching the Rams, and then Marshall's kind of he's there obviously, and I'm absolutely loving him. But then I'm starting to see Torrey Holt, and he catches a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and stuff like that. And it's like, oh man, who is this guy? This guy's so cool. He's so fun to watch, and he just had that movement, man. And I like the way the 81 looked and stuff like that. And it was just he became one of my favorites very quickly as well. And then obviously got Jackson, James Laurinaitis, and then I could go on that stuff. And actually, I have another podcast that's all about my Rams fandom and me diving into it. So that will be released definitely soon. I'm trying to get a little bit of a backlog before I start dropping those episodes, but I'll let you know the name of that podcast is Fanterrogation. It is certainly coming soon. So that's going to do it for me. Thank you for your quesos. Absolutely appreciate the heck out of you for dropping those. Anybody who drops those every week, absolutely love it. Not sure when the next episode will be, but it will be rather soon. Within the next few weeks, we'll get the next episode rolling for you as we dive into, we'll give away our season awards. Wanted to wait till the Super Bowl was over. Have them now, wanted to wait. So we'll do our season awards, we'll do some other stuff like that, and start officially heading into the offseason and all those off-season topics. In the meantime, make sure you stay up on at Ram Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags on socials, ramshowcase.com. Again, keep your eyes on the merch section, ramshowcase.com, for some really unique, one-of-a-kind stuff that'll be popping up there, which will be really, really fun stuff. But that is going to do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fan-Sided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching. Go Rams.